You guys think about getting our clients to follow our YouTube channels? Is that a good or a bad thing? Because it
Depends
gets a
on what
little
you put out
touchy with it.
there.
You know what I mean? Because it's some things that you say on it, you're not always, want the client to hear, I would think. What's your guys' thought? I want to ask Matt and Jojo, since you guys got the biggest channel and you guys, probably dealt with this topic before.
Yeah, once in a while we'll get a customer that has seen our YouTube channel and they get excited to see us. But usually I feel that done really well is that it's pretty separate. It's pretty separate. We don't do anything wrong and we don't treat people wrong on camera and so I wouldn't I wouldn't dislike, we don't have anything to hide. So if a customer wanted to watch our YouTube channel, they could, but I prefer not because I feel that our YouTube channel is more for our subscribers that like to watch us do jobs or want tips and tricks on how to start their business and grow their business. So that's really what our YouTube channel is more for. So I definitely wouldn't. I'd ask for, I'd send them a link for a Google review, but I wouldn't, bring up our channel and talk about it and invite them to it. Not only that, but we do share that, we made this much money today and it's kind of easy money and cha-ching, and I don't really feel that a customer needs to hear all that. Like I said, we post positive things, so I'm not embarrassed if a customer watched it, but I definitely wouldn't pull them, to our channel.
So I'm gonna tell you like this, Paul. One thing that really helped our business grow was our YouTube channel.
Yes.
We have so many subscribers out there. The last time we went to the Junk Con and we had like a little separate breakout room, and we were in there talking about how to get subscribers and how to build your channel. And JoJo asked the whole room, how many of you guys checked out our website? Every single person in that room raised their hand. So we get so many people that watch our YouTube channel, then they go to our website, they stay on there. It just helps us out with SEO and everything else. So we actually get a lot of jobs off of subscribers too in our area.
Yeah, they will refer people to us. So yeah.
Dave, I want to hear from you on this, brother. Do you guys, try getting your clients to subscribe to your YouTube channel?
No, not really. But I mean, our YouTube channel, we're not doing a bunch of content on there. So, and our content is more just for a local. But it's actually a good point. I should start like telling people to check out our channels. So, but I don't have that same, it wouldn't be an issue for us because we're not really posting about business per se. You know what I mean? It's more like shorts. Like we're just taking our reels and stuff and putting them on the channel. So it would be more geared toward a local client anyways.
Yeah, my thoughts on the whole thing is I think it could be a real plus, and especially looking back and, Sonoma Strong as a good example. I think what it shows the clients is you guys are the experts. You guys are the people that everybody in the community actually goes to. So, by showing that, I think it's just going to make you guys be the one that everybody wants to pick, as, if they're going to call, they're going to be like, oh my God, those are the people that we looked on the video and they said to follow them. You know what I mean? So I think it just adds to the awe and the appeal and, so I don't think they would be really offended, saying, "Oh, we just did good and made that money," because it's not like you guys are like throwing it in the face or anything like that.
Oh, Matt does have a saying that Load Runner says, where he's like, "Just hit him with that price."
That's only on,
the head with that price.
that's only on them dirty, filthy jobs. I'll say something like that. But you know what? I gotten jobs from customers that watched us cut up a sailboat, and they called us up like a year later. They watched the video. They were trying to figure out how to do it themselves, and I got jobs that way, hot tub jobs. So it does come back to us for sure.
Yeah.
Very nice. There was a question I think I wanted to bring up here. I saw Sarah put it up here, but we were in the middle of another talk. She said, Sarah from Load Runner says, have any of you tried out Matt Fitch's new AI junk estimator? Do you think it's going to be helpful or hurtful to the junk community?
Oh, and he's not on here.
Oh
now.
my God, Matt's gone. Where is Matt? I just realized he's gone. Marin.
Junk estimator.
What is your guys' thought on that? I see they have them on like 1-800-JUNK, I believe has one, Junk King. You know, they seem to have the estimators and all where the people could go and click what items are on and it gives an estimate of the range that it's going to be in. What's your guys' thoughts on that?
I see it on TikTok. It's more for like contractors. Sorry to cut you off, Joni, but
You're fine.
I see it on TikTok. You know, you take a picture, it scans it, and it gives you a picture. But if it works for you, but to me, you really have to go. People, you really have to like sometimes dig through the junk because if you're doing like construction debris, guarantee you underneath all that pile is tiles, sheetrock, curdy board, and all that heavy shit on the bottom. So that the picture didn't scan.
Yeah, I just there's so many variables that go into pricing junk removal that I don't know how accurate something like that could be. Like as tomorrow, we have a job in Guerneville. Now, typically those jobs are, sometimes it's like 50, 60 feet flight of stairs going down, or things are in the backyard. Um, certain things cost more to get rid of. And how far is the dump from certain areas? Because tomorrow's Wednesday, and in Guerneville, that dump is closed. So that means if it's multiple loads, we're spending a lot more time getting to the dump because it's further away. So there's so many variables that I'm not sure like a price estimator would be that great of a tool. But
I would say on the smaller jobs, yeah, but it'll probably work. And if the big franchises are using it, I would say why not try it out? But like the JoJo said, every job is different for us. Some jobs we charge more money if it's farther out or there's stairs. So it's like in the gray area to me.
Yeah, because it's as long as it gives a broad range and the customer understands it's just an estimate. Because I feel like you could show up to a job and see there's a bunch of obstacles or it's a lot further than you thought it was going to be. And now you got to change the price, and these people are going to be looking at you like, oh, but we got this estimate. That's the only time where I could see it turning into a problem and all. And just like you guys all teach, you're trying to get the client in person, and by adding these estimators into it, it's kind of going away from that, and it's kind of not going to work in our benefit, I would think. You guys agree with that?
Yeah, I think the goal at the end of the day is to get in front of the customer. I know if I can get my team in 10 driveways, we're guaranteed at least 9, maybe 10, right? I think an estimator might make people shop more and keep looking for something that they find better. I haven't seen it, though. Not against it. Junking has had one on their website forever. So obviously it works to an extent. We've gotten a lot of jobs from Junkings, though, where they book an online appointment through their estimator and they show up and it's 2 or 3 times as much. And then they call us out because they're frustrated. So could work, could not work. It's probably not something that I would do. I like to just get in the driveway. Get me in the driveway and we're good.
Yeah, I'm on the same thing. You got to get them to close the deal. And the other thing
I got a question. Does everybody here is a factor in the game? You know what I mean? Way more experience than me, way more years than me. What is everybody's take on a price sheet? Do you have a price sheet? Would you get a price sheet? Do you recommend a price sheet?
And before you answer that, guys, I just want to throw in one piece of context with that. So the guy that called me up on the phone that I said was in the area, and he was telling me how you can't scale this business, and we were going back and forth with it, and I brought up 1-800-JUNK, and he said his answer to me right away was, "Where's your price list?" And I was like, "Oh no, I don't have my price list yet. I go in person." He goes, "That's why you're never going to be scalable, because you're not doing it right." I said, "Well, I'm at the beginning learning this business, trying to figure out the market right now." I said, "Once I'm off the truck, then I would probably go along with the price list if I'm trying to make this into like a franchise or scalable." So what's your guys' thoughts on the price list? Is that something that has to be done to go scalable?
Yes.
100%. We went the first probably year and a half without a price sheet, but that's when I was in the field more. As I've been off the field and having the team in the field, it is almost impossible to be consistent. And the price sheet's important for you as a business, but it's really more important for your customer. So your customer has the confidence that you're not just pulling some random price out of who knows where, that there's a standardized structure and you're actually properly evaluating, and that volume meets your price sheet volume and the price makes sense. When I'm on site, sure, I think it's a little different. I have a different sales tactic than my team does, and I feel like I can handle it without a price sheet. But for scalability, I think it's vital.
And where do you put your price sheet? Does that go on your website, or is that something that they could just get in person?
It's in person that our guys carry on their iPads. So as we're walking through, they're showing the customer through the sales process, hey, this is where you're going to be falling. You're going to be, here, and they get to see it. They get to see the picture of the truck.
Now, what if somebody calls you up and they want a price over the phone? Do you send them that price list then?
Absolutely not. I want to get in the driveway.
Okay, I see. That's part of the process that goes with it. That's very important to know. Who else uses a price list in here?
We do.
Okay,
Yep.
So Dave and Kevin.
Yeah,
Tell me about it.
Absolutely. It makes everything for the customer. It makes it very transparent. If you have transparent upfront pricing, you seem like you're more trustworthy. Contractors, you don't use price lists. They pull numbers out of their ass. And you don't trust these guys. I don't know. I've never heard anybody say, man, I really trust contractors. Right. But having that and just, I'll put it in their hand and show them, and I'll point down and, and let them know this is what the volume's going to be and everything else. And they can see it right there, and it's in their hands, and it's transparent and upfront, and I'm not adding anything else to it. All my prices are there. My single item prices, my regular volume prices, my bed load prices, any labor fees or additional labor fees, everything is right there spelled out for them in front of them. So, to them, it's like, okay, I can trust him. He's just not making up numbers as he's going. This is what it is.
Kevin, did you find that helped with your business? Do you find yourself closing more jobs like that, or closing less jobs because the prices scared them away?
No, like I said, it makes you more trustworthy. Like Abel said, the whole purpose is to, get your foot in the door. And, when you're explaining your service, that you go from explaining your service into the estimate. And part of that is showing them that price list. And like I said, you're not making numbers up as you're going, because you could say, one thing is like, yeah, it's probably going to be this much, and they're like, yeah, it's easier. Even if I know my prices from beginning to end, I have them memorized, but if I show it to them, I'll put it in their hand so they can see that it's standardized process, that everybody's getting the same price. It's not just something that I'm making up as I go along like a contractor would.
So Kevin, would you recommend, for the people who are watching and they're thinking about doing something like this, would you put your price lists on your website so they already know the prices before they call you?
No, I don't. I personally, everybody does their business differently. I don't do that because, like Abel said, I want to get my foot in the door. I want to go there and explain my service to them. I want to build a relationship with the customer. I want to build that rapport with them long before we even talk about junk or prices or anything else. I want to get my foot in there. I want to build that relationship with them and, get them to actually know me. I get to know them. We build a relationship. Then we'll talk about junk. I'll find out why they're getting rid of their junk. And then after all that, then we'll go look at the junk, and then we'll talk about pricing. And I'll explain how my service works for them. And that's how you establish the value of your service.
I just want to read this out.
Confusing, right? Not everyone understands what cubic yard is. They think it's cubic feet. They think it's this. They think it's that. You give them a price sheet that says, oh, this is 15 cubic yards. My truck's X long, X wide, X tall. They're looking at their pile. They don't know what they have. And what you've done is you've introduced friction to the process. And anytime you introduce friction, your closing ratio is immediately going to drop. So as long as you can get in the driveway, you show them everything, you walk through your process, like Kevin said, build that relationship. That's the most important part. Then everything goes smooth sailing. But I wouldn't post it anywhere.
Abel, how do you show them like the truck and all that? You pull in the driveway. Do you actually show them the inside? Like, how do you? What's your
So
process look like?
on our price sheet, so well, we pull up obviously. So I have when we pull up, I have my guys strategically park where when they open the front door, they immediately see the truck behind our team as they're knocking. So they see it immediately on our price sheet. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. I have a picture of the truck at the bottom with the dimensions of what it is. Once in a while, we'll walk out and show them, but the sales process with building the relationship, properly evaluating, looking through the piles, asking questions about the pile of the debris that you're removing, showing them the pricing sheet, explaining how much it's going to take up within the truck. Those all things have created credibility on top of showing up in a branded truck, branded uniforms, clean cut team. All of that has created the credibility and the trust factor. And they already like you. You've built a relationship. They trust you because they see you're legitimate, right? So at that point, there's very little chances of them saying no. You've given them all the information you need, and it's been a very smooth, non-friction process. And I mean, it's very rare that we run into a situation where we're on site and the answer is no, like just get out of here.